Hello, I'm glad you are here. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of maybe our lives are more about harmony than achieving balance. So, my name is Courtney. If you don't know me, the last time I did a Facebook Live event, we were talking a little bit about the idea of bringing more peace and harmony into our lives. And one of the ways we discussed that was about being more confident in some of our abilities. And for me personally, as I've become more confident in my teaching abilities, I have become more peaceful. So today I'm interested in talking a little bit about how the idea of achieving harmony in our lives might be a better way of labeling what we're doing versus balance, and also how accessing our leadership qualities can help us achieve harmony and something called four-way wins. We live in a crazy busy society where time is always sped up, um, or we have a lack of time. During the pandemic, some of us, I think, have felt like time has moved even more quickly, and I'm sure you felt like at times it has moved very slowly. Those boundaries get blurred when we're working at home, and some of you might have trouble just turning the off button off of your work life. There might have been times in the past where you stayed late at the office or were the last one to leave. Maybe someone even called you a workaholic, and maybe you took a sick sense of pride in that. Come clean and be honest if you did. Um, the reality is that, even though we take a lot of pride in whatever project we're working on, at home, at work, in our music or performance lives, we throw ourselves into them. Sometimes we have to feel, or we feel that to achieve success in an area, we have to pay really high penalties in another area. And the idea of finding balance can sort of paint this picture of where do we have to sacrifice in order to achieve success. And that that can make us feel a lot of lack. In order to achieve balance, I have to give up something somewhere else. So rather than looking at success through specifically status, a paycheck, our career, why not also look at the idea of success as, how rich our relationships are with others, our sense of being connected in our communities, and just our mental and physical well-being? What if we took the view that our lives could be like a band of musicians working together, creating music together, choose any genre you want, but through that good music or harmony, we could have a better life overall. So, one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this topic is because of my mother. She was a very respected educator and administrator. She was a beloved wife and friend, and really the most caring mother and role model I could ask for. And she also admitted to me after a prolonged illness, and when she was close to dying, actually in 2010, that she wished she wouldn't have spent so much time working so hard. And that statement stuck with me because it's a big impact when your mother says something like that. It makes you evaluate things, and it's definitely made me evaluate and how I've lived my life over the last 10 years. There's been some great research done by Dr. Stuart Friedman on a concept called four-way wins. And these are conscious steps that we can take that lead to creating better, more enriching situations at work, at home, in our communities, in our relationships, basically those four areas of life: work, home, community, and relationships. And while we can't have everything at once, his research shows that over time we can achieve more peace and harmony. But we have to exhibit leadership in our lives to have these four-way wins. So I have a question for you. Um, True or false? In order to be a good leader, you have to have the word title, I'm sorry, the word manager, director, owner, CEO in your title. False. We know it's false, right? But a lot of us, with how we've been raised and in the world we live in, there's a lot of emphasis on titles and prestige and that kind of thing. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. Let me know if you can in the comments. But real leadership is being able to express, hey, Tim, good to see you. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Real leadership is being able to express what you value, getting clear on what's important, and being comfortable with continually fine-tuning what you're doing and communicating that to others. There are many great leaders out there, we probably know some, who don't have anyone reporting to them. Just as, hi Stacy, just as there are many managers who are not good leaders who have hundreds reporting to them. So, sort of begs the question, what does it take to step into leadership regardless of your title? And it takes three things. And those three things are being authentic or your real self, acting with integrity and being whole, and being creative. So to talk a little bit more about those three things to access your leadership, authenticity is being self-aware, knowing what matters to you, and basically embracing those values at home and at work, and being comfortable living them and expressing those values through your actions, through your word and deed. Everyone knows what you stand for when they look at you. I agree with you, John. I don't want a job, I want a position. Awesome. Integrity. The Latin roots of this word integrity go back to the word one, meaning actually whole. The idea that many parts fit together to build a whole. So if we're acting or living with integrity, we are choosing, in a sense, to live in harmony. So when we live in harmony, we have all these different pieces and parts of our life under one roof, and they feel okay. This includes sharing our expectations, having support and creating supportive networks both in our personal and professional lives, and navigating all of those boundaries, all the different roles that we play with real intelligence, empathy, and just genuinely helping others. And being creative, the third quality of leadership skill making, is when we focus more on the results achieved rather than on just the methods to get there. And I know I'm talking to a lot of people who are probably very disciplined and have a very set way of doing things, or methods that work for you. But when we're creative and innovative, we find new ways to do things. We resolve conflicts in new ways. It encourages us to live courageously and basically seek ways to experiment and model that for other people. In this moment of the pandemic, I think many of us have seen, obviously, a lot of horrible, negative, sad things. And yet, we've also seen and witnessed some amazing creativity going on in the world of art makers, music makers, performances, online, everywhere, curbside concerts, being delivered to us or us going to them in new and different ways. So when we embrace the ideas of authenticity, integrity, and innovativeness, then we could have these leadership skills that we need to access to take those bold steps necessary to improve relationships with the most important people in our lives. So what does that look like? It looks like having hard conversations with people and having conversations where we might share those expectations that we talked about earlier, where we might expect or feel like everyone has a lot of expectations and demands putting on us. But if we have conversations about that, is our perception really what is reality? So, in having these tough conversations, I think you can achieve clarity and understanding, and it builds trust. It builds trust with those that we have around us. And the surprising outcome, I think you'll find, is that when we have these conversations, we realize actually people don't necessarily expect or demand of us all of the things that we thought they did. A lot of the stress that we bring on ourselves is the expectations that we think people have of us. So when you release that a little bit, I'm interested to know your thoughts on that. When you release that a little bit, you can feel a little bit lighter. So if you know of someone who needs to be in on this conversation, please tag them. I really am interested to know what you think about the idea of harmony versus balance, how that sits with you. If you think you can achieve harmony through accessing these leadership skills, I'd love to know that as well. Do you even think four-way wins are possible? And if you disagree with any of this, please share that as well, because we need to talk about it. There's a lot of different ways to get to pathways to personal harmony. So hit me up on the comments section, even if you're watching the rebroadcast. Thanks for listening, and until next time, sending a lot of peace and harmony your way.